I was reading a collection of personal philosophy essays titled This I Believe. As you can imagine, several of the essays touched on holy convictions. One in particular highlighted a concept I've been meaning to touch on, the belief in a soul and the reason for that belief. The only way I consider a person's soul or spirit to be a real thing is if the term is being used in a way that's synonymous with personality. If you're describing someone as having a gentle soul, for example, because they have a kind and non-violent personality, I don't mind the use of the term soul. However, I can't get on board with the belief in a soul as if it's some ethereal component of each person on earth separate from the contents of our minds, which drive our brains to make us feel emotions and instincts. I find it bizarre to listen to different people wrestle with their definitions of the supernatural version of a soul and to listen to them justify their beliefs in it. The essay I was reading from is called The Elusive Yet Holy Core, and it's by a freelance writer named Kathy Dolan. In it, she writes about taking a college anatomy class to learn more about the blood and guts of humanity, which required her to observe an autopsy. Watching a human corpse be dissected convinced her that humans have souls because, and I quote, "It struck me that all these parts and pieces didn't explain fear or lust, ambition or love. There wasn't an organ I could probe to uncover kindness or some tissue I could explore to find human will or the drive to make music. The brain lay exposed as though in a cocoon, creased and wrinkled by thoughts and experiences. Gazing at the mass of gray nerve tissue, I was unable to reconcile the evidence I had known of self-sacrifice or forgiveness with the notion that human life consists only of one's biology." I find this alleged evidence for a soul's existence to be remarkably underwhelming, though it's not the first time I've heard it. The fact that someone can't or doesn't understand how or why the human brain includes emotions and illogical decisions doesn't mean that those factors must be the work of some supernatural agent dwelling intangibly within our bodies. It does mean that a person who's interested in such a thing should study psychology, neuroscience, sociology, or even advanced anatomy. Without looking deeply into such fields, people should not be willing to conclude that the raw materials of the human body cannot account for personality traits. Basing a conclusion on such observation would be as absurd as me taking apart a computer and examining the processor, the fans, the microchips and circuits, and sitting with a puzzled look on my face as I claim, "I see nothing here that can account for the cat videos I watch on YouTube. I see nothing here that can explain how I played solitaire on this device. There are no papers that held the memory of all those things I typed into text files. Why, it's just a bunch of silicon, solder, and plastic. Therefore, computers must contain magical ghosts which tinker within them, conjuring otherwise unexplainable images onto the screen and sounds through the speakers." Most would agree that such statements would be foolhardy, and anyone with an advanced understanding of computer science would find my observations particularly pathetic if I spoke them with any degree of sincerity. Meanwhile, some of those people find this argument from ignorance to be profound and moving when applied to the assumed existence of a human soul. Probably because people want to think that there's more to us than just electricity running through a collection of matter and molecular bonds. I consider this deep desire to be greater than what we really are, to show appalling ingratitude for what we are. Your house is nothing but a collection of raw materials either, but that doesn't mean it can't be any more special to you than any other assembly of such materials. Its special significance to you is not contingent on it having some soul or holy ghost as a resident. To wish it were something more than a sturdy provision of shelter, and for some of us additional luxury, is to spit in the face of the many who have and still do exist without a home to enjoy. And I believe the same appreciation should be extended to the universally rare gift of human life.